Coming to you from the studios at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, it's the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
Rock and roll Chicago, rock and roll Chicago, my hometown. When I was born in the city, gonna rock the city, Chicago. Chicago rock and rollers are the best here around.
Hey everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is Hollywood Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. I couldn't be happier. We are here at the Illinois Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum, one of my favorite places in the world.
On Route 66 in beautiful downtown Joliet, Illinois.
And we are with some of my favorite people in the world.
Once again, you have brought in another group of people for us to interview.
The Billy Osman Band.
I'm kind of slacking.
You know, that's okay. You're retired. I understand. You've totally fallen into, I'm not going to do shit today. I'm going to hang out. We're just going to sit back. That's right. That's right. No,
so it's the Billy Osman Band.
That's right. I wonder where they came up with their name.
You know what? We will discover that in the interview.
We will.
We'll find out how that came out because, like, which one's pink?
Who's Hootie?
Bob Geldof. Bob Geldof is pink, if you really know the answer to that.
So who's joining us this evening? Do you want them to introduce themselves like we did in first grade?
I think they should do that.
No.
Let's do the
first grade I took F all the time. I took F like in speech class and having a speech like just say this is that guy over there. I'm Billy Osman.
Billy Osman.
Yeah.
Hence the Billy Osman Band.
Hence the Billy Osman Band.
That's how it came about.
Yeah, well, it actually came about with laziness, actually.
Whoa.
Laziness and like I would put a band together, and every time I would do something, none of those guys would be in there, and then somebody would get upset that or whatever. So it's like so I decided it's easier to do my name that way nobody can get mad other than me.
No, actually, laziness would have been the B.O. band, but that wouldn't have gone over very well.
Yes. I did do the Oz band for a minute, but yeah.
So I think we should do this. This was kind of good the last segment. We're going to steal something from Jimmy Fallon. All right. So as we get going, Billy, introduce yourself as you just did, but don't tell us what they are. Give us 2 truths and 1 lie about yourself.
2 truths and 1 lie.
2 truths and 1 lie.
Bum, bum, bum. This is a pregnant pause, everybody out there.
Like it's hard to tell the true one.
2. Don't worry, we edit this so you can take some time.
It's got to be 2 true ones.
Yeah.
I don't even know. That's too many questions at once. 3.
Yeah.
So
it's 1 question, 3
1
answers.
questions with 3 answers.
That's right.
Think about it, Billy. Let's get on to somebody else.
Yeah. Move on.
We'll continue with our introductions at the present time.
How you guys doing? I'm Dave Walters, local drummer.
All right. And 2 truths and a lie about yourself.
2 truths and a lie about myself.
And Mike, not you, Mike.
Well,
there's another Mike here.
I'm gonna go with I'm sober, and I'm sober, and I'm sober.
All right. I wonder which one that one is.
I think I got it.
Now, this man over here, the bass player, Mr. Mike Brown, I mean, he really needs no introduction because everybody in this area knows who this guy is. I'll tell you what, I met Mike Brown. Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you how I met this guy.
You are going to tell me, aren't you?
I am going to tell you. So I played in hard rock bands for most of my life. And we had a project come to an end. And I said, you know what? I am going to get back into playing roots music. I want to play some blues is what I want to do. All kinds of blues. And I heard about this open jam that was going on at a place that we have mentioned many, many times on this podcast, the Uptown Tap in Plainfield. And I walked in with a 3-piece band. And we signed up on the sign-up sheet for the very first time. And we were sitting there for about 15 minutes. And this man, Mike Brown, takes a look at me and goes, "You're up next. Who you got with you?" And I said, "Well, I got a drummer and I got a bass player with me." And we went up there and we played a couple of songs. Then he said, "Well, play one more." So we played another one. And I took that to be kind of a good sign, right? And then I got off the stage and Mike comes over to me and he goes, "I don't know where you came from, but nobody here knows you, but stick around. We're going to have you hang out with us a little bit longer." And the rest of that is kind of history. And this man, Mike Brown, sitting across the table from me, I will credit him, and I'm looking him square in the eye as I'm saying this. Mike Brown, I will credit him with the person who brought me back to the music of this area. He reintroduced me to the music of Joliet, which is, of course, rooted in the blues. And all of these great, fabulous musicians that I have learned to become friends with over the course of the last 12 years or so. He truly is a brother. Mr. Mike Brown over here on the bass. I need 2 truths and a lie for you, my friend. And I know what they are, so I'm not going to guess at the end because I know what they are.
And let's hear from Mr. Mike Brown.
All right, so here is the 3 that you wanted. I'm skinny. I'm in shape, and I drink a lot.
Bum bum bum.
Pick one.
Man, you guys are dark, man.
I know.
we will answer those questions at the end of this show.
Well, we're still waiting to hear from Billy, though.
Yeah, you still got to do Billy.
Yeah,
We're still waiting to hear from Billy.
So here.
Yeah, I just got 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah.
Yep.
1, did I play blues? 2, did I play at all? Nicely? Or did I play frisbee golf? I might play frisbee golf.
All right.
There's the 3.
There's the 3.
Yeah, I like his jersey, too, by the way.
And it's Joliet.
Slammers-
It is
the
actually the
Slammers jersey.
Slammers Joliet.
You know, one of
And
the...
it's a team. The year last year we won.
yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, one of the greatest things that's... not to make this...
You didn't hold on. You didn't guess which one was the truth.
We'll do that at the end.
We'll do that at the end.
We'll do that at the end. But I'll tell you one, I've been fortunate enough to have several things happen to me in my career. And one of the coolest things that has happened to me within the last couple of years, I got a phone call from the Joliet Slammers baseball organization. And I sing the national anthem several times a year before the baseball games. I never thought in my life I'd ever get to sing the national anthem at a baseball game, but I do for the Joliet Slammers. And every time they introduce me as Mike Matoyer from Cadillac Groove and the Illinois Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because the first time I did it, Ron Romero, the founder of the museum here, asked me to sing the national anthem. I believe it was Rock and Roll Night over at the stadium. So that's awesome that you're wearing that jersey. I got to get one of those things.
Yep, I got it the year the only season ticket year that I had when they won in 19, I believe, last championship. So
Right.
Wow,
Right.
love to go there all the time. They're so close for me. It's in my backyard.
Shit,
Right,
I was
right.
hoping that was going to be the frisbee golf jersey. Now I'm completely in a conundrum.
Right. So the Billy Osman band, we obviously have to start with you because, I mean, the band's obviously
He's
named
pointing at Billy.
Yeah,
There's 2 things that I always that stand out about you when I think of you. Number 1, you play cover songs, and you play cover songs that really nobody in their right mind decides that they're going to play.
you're welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you.
I mean,
Dude, that's the biggest apology, the biggest compliment that I could. Seriously,
You are not right, and I absolutely love that about you.
Thank you. That's what
It
I
is.
strive to be not right.
I love the music that you play. And number 2, I tell this to everybody I have the opportunity to say this to. His guitar tone is so distinctive that I know it's him playing before I even lay eyes on him. He's got a very distinctive, I mean, I know it's Billy Osman, and that is the greatest compliment from one guitar
Yes,
player
it
to
is.
another.
That
I
is
can
too.
give you.
Thank
So
you.
I'm going to stop talking and go. Tell us about Billy Osman. Who are you?
Man, it started out with taking F in school in speech class. I did all through speech class. I took F because I was scared to death to stand up in front of people. And now I was counted up to the other day. I think it's been almost 35 years that I've been playing music in front of people now. Not all the time, and not as much as I like sometimes, and sometimes too much. I've always been the different person when it comes, like in high school. I guess going back to the high school thing, when everybody else was listening to Judas Priest and had the Razor Blade T-shirt, I was listening to Adam and the Ants. So it was always something. I was always different. When everybody else had a party, I was probably not there.
Right.
So I was never that. I was always my own person. So when it come to music, the same thing. I started playing right out of high school. That's a whole nother story. Like how I even started playing. Like I knew that I wanted to, but wasn't until my last day of high school that a band was playing in the little auditorium. Like, and I didn't know anybody. I do know about 2 people that are in it now that I found because of doing open mics. But I couldn't tell you anybody at the time. All I know is that they opened with Cat Scratch Fever. And as soon as that dude said, wah, I said, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I started playing guitar that summer.
Wow.
2 years later, almost to the day, I had my first gig at the Lockport Moose across the street from where I was, kitty corner from where I was taking lessons from, almost to the day. And I've been playing ever since. So started playing the summer 87, played my first gig summer of 89.
How old are you in 87?
21.
21.
Just turned old enough to be in there. I was sneaking into the clubs to watch my teacher and everybody else. They'd pull me up on stage and let me play Johnny Be Good.
Native of Lockport.
Nope, Joliet.
No, Joliet. But you were hanging out in Lockport.
Lockport was where I started taking lessons with Rick, and about 2 weeks into it, a month into it maybe, he says, well, you're going to have another teacher. I'm not going to be here next week. And I'm like, I'm not going to break in another teacher. I just got you broken in.
Right.
He said, well, I'm opened up into a store, and he opened up Lockport Music, which is now Allegro there on.
Right.
We just lost him. Rick Young was like, he's why I am who I am on guitar. Like, I didn't know anything. I come in and I had a piece of wood with strings on it. And he's like, you need a guitar. And he's like, what are you going to get? And I didn't know, a Telecaster from a Stratocaster from a banjo. Right. Maybe a banjo I did, but I said, I don't know. He said, well, who do you like? I said, I like Mark Knopfler. He said, well, you want a Stratocaster.
Wow.
So that's actually why I play a Stratocaster, not from what you would think.
Because of Mark Knopfler.
Because of Mark Knopfler. Still to this day, like, that's probably why I'm not playing with a pick most of the time now.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing I noticed about you.
And people around us, Mr. Ferguson had a lot scratched off. We could talk about that too.
You know, I'll tell you, Mr. Ferguson is mentioned in almost every one of these podcasts.
Is he not?
Gosh, I wish he was still around.
Him and Dave and I had probably maybe 2 weeks before we lost him. Like, he was gone 2 weeks. Yeah, we were on stage with him. It was awesome for me too. It was one of the best. Him and I had a thing where, like, if we were on stage, we did my thing because he knew that I wasn't going to get the thing from Twist.
Right.
And it was awesome that night. There was a young kid playing bass who didn't know, like Twist was being Twist, and on guitar. And I remember the only other thing I remember is that I never did around Herman or any of those guys. I always thought doing any of the hardcore. I did Stevie Ray Vaughan and stuff when they were around. I never did Muddy Waters, though I knew it, just because I felt like I was, like, almost disrespectful. I was being. But that night we did Backdoor Man. Backdoor Man. We did Backdoor Man, and I do literally like a completely bastardized Hendrixy version of it, and Twist just locked into what it's supposed to be the whole time. And I remember looking over him to take a solo, and he wouldn't. I was happy that he didn't, because, like, he forced me to do what it's supposed to be the whole time. And I was like, it gives me, I'm getting chills right now thinking about that and him doing that. Isn't that unbelievable? I mean, and just for our listeners, I'm explaining that we refer to someone by the name of Twist, Mr. Ferguson, Professor Twist Ferguson. It's all the same person. So every podcast that you've listened to and you've heard those 3 names, we're all talking about the same person. And if you are a musician in this Joliet area, you know who he is, because at one point in time you were on stage with him and you hit a wrong note and he looked at you and said, "What the fuck you do that for?"
Now, see, that wasn't just one
gave
time.
You that look,
which is enough for you.
Now, everybody that knew Twist is going to know what I mean when I ask this next question. Anybody that's ever played with Twist. Now, how long did it take after you met Twist for him to stop giving you the look?
I never got stopped getting it.
No,
you never did. You never did, because you never reached that level. You know, you never reached that level of perfection where, Twist would just not look at you. The musicians, by their very nature, we will make a mistake. And Twist caught every one of them.
He was like our James Brown.
Every one of them.
Yeah, every one. You know, and he would give you that look, and everyone that knew Twist knows that look. You know, and if you didn't get it, then you didn't play with him.
And you know what? If he gave you that look, it meant that he cared.
Oh, absolutely.
If he wasn't looking at you, if he wasn't giving you that look, he didn't care.
You know, I've seen Twist at Open Jam where he'd get up and just, you know, whoever's playing with him, he'd look at him.
Right.
He'd look at him again, and the guy didn't get it. He'd get up and say, "Okay, I'm done," and walk off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the funny thing is, like you, I got that look from him, until the day he died. But when I knew that I was in with him is the day that he invited me to his jam at his house.
Yep.
Right. And he walked up to me and he said, "Mike, I heard you went to Al Spear's house and you made some gumbo." I said, "Yeah, I made some gumbo." And he goes, "Bring that gumbo when you come over to my house this Saturday." And I was like, "Are you inviting me to your house for the jam?" "Yeah, I'm inviting you to my house for the jam."
And so old school.
I just made it. I made it.
Yeah.
Twist knows who I am.
Like being anointed.
And you walk around still like all the way up with pieces of paper to put them in your guitar case. Like I had one in my guitar case.
Right.
And I remember the same thing. I remember not only being invited, I remember going and like I wanted the whole, like, cause I heard the talking of the fish and the fried green tomatoes, and I've never had fried. I get there and Twist is like, "Oh, there's hot dogs over here." I'm like, "Dude, you can come here for any hot dogs. Come here.
You got gumbo and fried green tomatoes."
Yeah.
I can get a hot dog anywhere.
I think I got to look once if I ever really got it. I got blessed with that end of it because we had this unwritten rule. I don't know how it got that way. Probably because he knew that I wasn't going to get yelled at on stage. Because I always loved Twist, and I always said that he was everything about what you should do and should not do on stage.
Right.
Because some of what he called out people like would make me want to not like hurt things. You know what I mean? Right. But that is what I loved about him. But him and I always had a thing. My favorite was early on. We were, I think, at Leo's there in Plainfield, right? And it was the end of the night. There was like 3 guitar players on stage, and Twist was playing keyboards. He was to my left, and Ruffin was just to my right playing drums. And there was the end of the song, and it felt like it went on forever. And Twist nodded his head to me, and every time he nodded his head to me, I give him the "what's up" nod. And we did that like 3 times while Jeff was doing his roll, and Jeff snapped the snare and I hit an E at the same exact time. And I got that smile look at from him. And that was the only, like, that's the closest thing I got to getting the look was like pay attention to what's going on here. And I looked him dead in the eye the whole time. Like, I don't got to look at him to know. It was cool. That's one of my fondest memories of that, and him showing up to a jam last second on stage. And John Hewitt says, "Hey, let's do that song you made me learn you called before that we didn't do the first round as the end of the night." And Twist walks in. And he walks up and I remember he pulls his guitar out right away and he says, "I'm going to do some Billy songs." And my first thought was, man, like, what am I going to do now? He's not going to know Two Rolling Stoned. And then I thought, well, he walked up on my stage. So like I said, "This is in C and hang on." And it was like, he did Twist, you know.
Right.
Twist, but
and it was right.
Yes, absolutely. He didn't know what to do for it first. He looked sideways at it, but he stood right in there and did what anybody should have done in his, like, who he was. He was just like.
So, note to self, we need to do a podcast where we just bring a bunch of Twist students, and that could be a lot of
dude.
That's a long list. I mean, it would literally have to be like a multi-part segment because we can tell Twist stories all night long. And I want to get back to Dave.
Some that I want to talk about it. You're like, I can tell you some of those too.
Oh gosh,
I was there nights when things went down in places where there were things that I like. Yeah, we'll talk about maybe after this is over.
Yeah, I have
I'm
going to say, I'll save the
right
story.
across the street from where we hang out all the time. A big thing went down. I was there when a bunch of people that we all know were there, and it was.
I'll save the story for another time. But just a couple of days before he passed, he and I had a conversation. And hindsight being 2020, it was almost like he was saying goodbye to me. almost like he knew what was going on. And it's a story for another time in the whole bit. Because I really want to get back to Dave, because Dave is the one that posted the question, and we ended up on a tangent. This all of a sudden became a discussion about Twist Ferguson and the whole bit. So I want to make sure I get back to Dave here real quick, because the first time I met Dave was at Uptown. And the people who listen to this podcast are going to hear 2 words a lot. Actually, 3 words. You've already heard Twist Ferguson. You're going to hear the studio, and you're going to hear the Uptown a lot. And that's the first time I met Dave, was at the Uptown. And he walked up and played drums, and we played together for the very first time that I met you. And you're a fantastic drummer.
Thank you very much.
I'll play with you anytime I get the opportunity. So I want to know more about Dave. Where'd you come from, and what are your influences?
That's actually not quite true.
I do drink when I play sometimes. So sometimes
A musician that drinks?
no, that doesn't exist.
Sober, and sober, right?
Right.
So Billy and I are actually in Eden's for the jam one night, and I'm not sure if it was called Eden's yet or if it was still called Old School. But there's this good-looking kid on stage that can play and can sing, and he looks like that. And I said, Billy, who the fuck is this? He said, I don't know. Who the fuck is that? And that's that night I come up to you and I said, who the fuck are you? Because
you're talking about me?
Yeah, you.
We gotta get back to me.
You
Don't
said
drag me into
you said
that one.
you said the place was called Eden's? Where was this?
Old School, just off of 53 and Doty Road there. Or
right off of 80 and 53.
Right off 80 and 53.
80 and 53.
Oh, yeah.
You and I met. We have to go back. I remember when you and I met, but him and I must have known who you were and didn't want to tell him or whatever at that time. But you and I met at a different place, a different way, I believe.
Okay.
You guys do your thing. Him and I met a different way.
I think that you had said that you had seen him before, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a come out of nowhere for me, and I was really kind of curious. So I came up and said, who are you? What's your story? Where are you from, man? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I play around, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nothing I know. And then there's some time, maybe a couple of years before the next time I see you and we get to play together.
Yeah. Disclaimer, you have to forgive me. I have no idea what people put in my drinks when I'm playing. But no, I do remember Eden's. Wow. That's going back a little while. Wow.
Yeah, maybe who's hosting at Eden's?
Could have been Shiner and Slab.
Yeah,
Maybe Moses.
Moses, no, not quite that far back. Quite.
It was you know what? It was definitely Tommy Slab.
It was Tommy Slab and Shiner then.
Right.
Bob Shiner.
It was that brief period when we were hosting jam over there.
Yes. Do you remember when we met? Or where we met? You were drinking that night too?
Oh, yeah.
Another rare night.
Refreshment.
12 handles. I was doing a jam night. And I was the only one singing. I was hosting the jam night. I was the only one singing, and you came up and I like you play guitar. And my next question was, "Do you sing?" And you said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Thank God."
Was that for Scotty Evans's
Evans came
college
out that same night?
Was that his college graduation night?
Yeah, I think
and they
so.
they had his party at 12 Handles.
Yes, you could have been doing an auditioning thing there that night.
That's right. That's right.
I was a part of that in a lot of my open mics.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm pretty sure that Ellis and Cooper got together on one of my jam nights and showed up, and that's how they wound up meeting each other.
Oh yeah, because Will's wife used to work at 12 Handles.
No, prior to that. No, I'm talking even prior. I'm jumping all over the place.
Right.
Like Will and I met on an open mic. Like Will Cooper and Ellis met at the River Club on one of my open mics.
Okay. Yeah,
that's part of where me knowing all the people I'm being labeled as a blues player comes from, and I sometimes get offended being labeled a blues player because I'm not. I don't think I am.
But you do
I know a lot of the notes.
Take it as a compliment.
I do. I don't take it as I did say I get offended to it. I don't want to get pigeonholed, I guess. Right. Because they're like, oh, he's just a blues player. Because I'm not, and I don't, and I love that I am. Like Stevie Ray Vaughan's my hero. Most hardcore may not go that way though. Like Twist wouldn't. Twist, it wasn't until towards the end with Twist did. He learned. We go back to him again all the time. He learned Pride and Joy. He used to call me all the time if somebody wanted to hear it.
Right.
a lot of those hardcore guys wouldn't do Hendrix and Stevie Ray. So that's kind of why maybe I didn't.
Right.
You know, I always was Stevie and Hendrix, and
Well, this is everybody does them.
This is all fuzzy wuzzy, and now we all know how you all met together.
Yeah.
You all know each other. It's all lovey. It's all dovey.
why is it usually a lot more chaotic?
It might
Should
be,
we
yeah, but no.
light something on fire or
No,
something?
I myself would like
Yes.
to know, how the hell did this Billy Osman band come together? Where did this happen?
The Osman band?
Yeah, what happened? I mean, was it a lightning strike? Was it?
No.
was it-
I kind of struck on that a little bit ago. I really was just naming it me because it was easier that way. I would get together with buddies and we would brainstorm on coming up with a name. And then I just lost one of them. JJ moved to Tennessee and we were named Bamboozled, and I booked a gig and we were Bamboozled, and he calls me up and I'm like, hey, what are you using the name for? So
No, I'm talking about you guys here.
So how did we? How did we get together?
Yeah, how did you guys?
So same thing, man.
look
I
in your-
was hosting a jam. He'd have to. He might remember. Walters would remember better than me. But I think I was hosting a jam night right by my house downtown, down by what was Bud's at the time, and you and I played. Maybe I wasn't hosting. I think it was a T-Bird jam, and we wound up on stage together.
And I had just recently become acquainted with Bob Shiner over at what is now Fireman Ted's, as he had just moved back from Tennessee. He said he knew you, and that's initially how that happened.
Oh, from Shiner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was there, yeah.
So how long has this been?
That's 12 to 15 years ago by now.
More than that.
Is it? Yeah, better than half of my
lives
playing.
ago.
Yeah, half of our playing.
Okay.
Lives playing. Mikey and I the same way at an open mic too, though. But I don't quite
Is Mike
sure.
Is Mike still here?
Yeah, he's over there.
Are you still
Yeah,
here?
he's the one with the
Mike, are you
headphones
here?
on.
I am still here. You know, here's the interesting thing about Billy. I met Billy many years ago, before B&B Riverfront. But I was fortunate enough to play with him, Marty Mercer, and JJ. And it expanded to Doc on keyboards, and we ran the open jam. And everything I know about running an open jam, I learned from Billy. Billy taught me more than I can ever express and be grateful for. The guy knows what he's doing. He puts together the right people, and he keeps the jam running the way it should run. And I was fortunate enough to play with him. And one day I'm sitting at home and just chilling out, and I get a phone call. And he says, "What are you doing?" Now, this is, you got to understand, I was really nervous. We'd have shows, and I'd screw up shit because I was so nervous about playing and forget notes and stuff. And so one day he called me up, and he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Just sitting here." He says, "You want to play tonight?" I went, "Okay." He says, "Well, meet me in 15-20 minutes at this place." I forgot the name of it now. Right off of Route 30 next to the laundromat. I said, okay. And I showed up there, and I had the best show with him ever. All right. And I didn't know why. And he explained to me later why. He says, because you weren't nervous. And I wasn't. Because I didn't have a chance to think about it.
Didn't have any time.
Didn't give him a chance.
Exactly. I got there, I unloaded my equipment, and by the time I got my power plugged in, it was time to start. So all the things that I would be nervous about, I wouldn't. So I credit Billy with just so many things. And, a lot of things in my personal life, Billy was there, has been there. He's not only a great musician, but he's a great friend. So I can't thank him enough, and I can't say enough about him. And because I can't say enough about him, I'm not going to say any more.
Oh yeah, you will. Like tell him how you got that the gig at the River Club. John Hewitt got a hold of you. Remember what's that story about? I usually tell a bad version of it.
And so John Hewitt was, and still, as far as I know, still is a fantastic bass player.
And builder.
Yeah, I was going to say, and a luthier.
Person.
Yeah, he's a great person too. Let me finish this shit.
Sorry.
God damn.
Sorry.
And so
He's a front man. He can't help himself.
I know, right? Just keep,
us, front man.
bass players like usually sit in the background.
Get
and
over
say
there and
shit.
sit down.
And give me a chance to talk. Now you can't shut me up. So Hewitt called me up and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Nothing." He says, "Can you fill in for me?" And I did. And I started playing with Billy, and it's honestly, it's been great ever since. This guy has the most eclectic set. And I showed you earlier, it's just song after song after song from all these different artists. And he doesn't do a set list. So if you want to play with Billy, you got to know this crap, at least have an idea of how it goes, because he'll pull something out of his
You can say ass.
Yeah, so pull something out of his ass, right? And,
As the lounge puppet. The lounge puppet. So we
don't play in 4 years or something.
and he'll play something out of his ass and just go. And the Billy's moniker when he's at a show was, "What do you want to hear? Somebody's getting a call."
Uh-oh. Is that a booty call?
No.
Well,
No.
probably,
Well,
but no.
maybe.
Not
Listen,
anymore.
no, it's Dave. It's Dave. He ain't getting a booty call.
Still my favorite one was John. John calls him up. Maybe it was coming from John. Maybe that's why that's the story I remember about you getting that gig when we were doing the River Club. But John called you up because he was leaving, or he got a proper job and he couldn't do their gig. Like, are you going to get a job? You're not going to be a musician. So he got a real gig and he needed you, and and bless his soul, like he replaced himself with you. He got you first, and then he said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not doing it anymore, and I got a replacement for you already." And so he calls you up, and Mike was like to John, said, "Well, could you give me a set list?" And John starts laughing at him. He said, "Yeah, I could give you one." He said, "But you probably won't do any of those songs when you do it, because every time I learn the songs off a list I do, and I ends up never doing them."
So who are some of the people that you cover? Because we mentioned about how you cover songs, and not a lot of people. Who are the artists? The artist is the most surprising thing.
So Todd Schneider's one of my favorite. If it's weird and you don't know what it is, it's probably him. And I tend not to do that all the time anymore, because most of the time they want to do at least something that they know from. Both Elvises, Costello and Presley, the Beatles, Petty, Hendrix, SRV, Billy Preston,
Violent Femmes.
I've really,
I don't know.
yeah, it goes on. Johnny Cash.
But what about some Billy Osman original?
No,
You don't do any original stuff?
I needed to. I always wanted to.
Yeah.
I think that's partially why I've been a trio. I don't know if you've ever noticed when you hear me, but most of the time I don't do the exact solo in the song.
Right.
So I like to say, not because I think mine is better, but I come up with ideas with I'll hear something in a cover, and I like to extenuate on it. Partially because I'm a trio, I think.
Right.
Too, pick the part that I think is cool and embellish on it, and then really embellish on it even more. So I like to say I take other people's songs and fix them, twist them, make them my own. I always like to say, make it your bitch. You got to make it your bitch.
Right.
I mean, you just got to mean it, whatever it is, it all, no matter what song you do.
And there's 100 songs that are half written that just.
Yeah, and I come up with stuff. My problem is the chicken or the egg. I come up with both. I'll come up with lyrics and go back and look at it and go, what was I thinking? And I'll come up with music. I've never put the two together. Right. I need to sit down with somebody that knows how to do that.
Well, give us something. You got these instruments here. Give us a sample.
Yeah, give us a sample of some.
We even have this is I think a first. We even have the drummer with a snare drum in here.
I'm telling you, this is a first.
Let's do that. Let's do Elvis then, man. I like to do the Elvis thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Do
Which one?
Let's do Watching.
Really? Wow.
pills, not the ones with the defects. Cellophane, shrink, wrap so correct. Mad dogs under a legal leg. She looks so good that he gets down and begs. She is watching the detectives. Oh, he's so cute. She is watching the detectives. Oh, and they shoot, to beat him up until the teardrops stop. He can't be wounded because he's got no heart.
All right.
A rock and roll Chicago podcast first. Non-acoustic.
Yeah.
First time.
Well, except for the drummer.
Oh, that was an electric drum?
That wasn't an electric drum.
Okay.
Kind of happenstance.
All right. We did something that turned out to be pretty fun. I think we're going to do it right here just to kick off the second part of the show, right? So I've got something here we call My 2 Cents. Let's pick, which one of you guys wants to do this?
Sure.
All right. So My 2 Cents. Pick 2 random pennies. Now, can you read the year that the penny was minted? Pick one of them and tell me what the year is.
Bum, bum, bum.
Dum, bum, bum. 1973.
1973. Now, this is a hard one. This is kind of a hard one because you and I.
Year. What are we talking about?
You and I are really close to the same age. So
Yeah.
in 1973, where were you? What were you doing? Music related or otherwise? What does 1973 to mean to you?
Bum, bum, bum.
7 years old, man. I was already being drugged to not drugged.
Not drugged.
I was already being with against and with my will to the Grand Ole Opry at that point already.
Wow. The Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah. My grandmother, every year we were either at the White Fence Farm for her birthday, the whole family, or we were in Nashville for the Grand Ole Opry.
The White Fence Farm over on 53?
Yes, that one, the original.
So the choice was, let's go eat.
It was her choice.
Yeah, let's go eat chicken on 53 or let's go to Nashville.
Like the Nashville might have been a little more beheaded. It was like really decided on her birthday. But
right.
But her birthday, that was what we did. Like, so I got, and then, and I always got to grow up, rock and roll on my mom's side and country on my dad. So I got Nazareth Hair of the Dog and stole all the Dylan records from my mom. And then I got Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson on my dad's side. So
wow.
And Johnny Cash was always like my hero. I have that story too from going to Nashville about 3 or 4 years after that, about 73. I was probably about 11 years old. We were going up the gravel driveway that leads to Johnny Cash's house. I was in the passenger side back seat, parents 72 Monte Carlo, right? Jeep coming down the wrong side of the gravel driveway with kids in it. The Jeep stops in the passenger side. I roll the window down, hit my head on the roof, sticking my head out the window, and Johnny Cash says, "Howdy, son."
Wow.
Drove away. Swear to God.
So what's on that other penny?
Oh, we got to go in.
First of all, can we acknowledge that was probably the coolest story that we've had
Yes.
with the
story.
you know, with Johnny Cash rolling down the window.
Yeah, it's still like he is. Like he was his my. I was the reason we were going there.
Yeah.
I was the reason we were going there. Now I got to read this one too, huh? Worse, 77, getting closer.
77. Okay. Or it could be one of these guys who's got something about 1977.
That was the first year I got married.
Oh, that's important. Yeah. Say that again.
It was the first year I got married. I went in the Air Force in 1977 and got married in 1977.
Wow.
What'd you do that for, son?
I'm just stupid, you know. And thank God I got divorced and met the true love of my life that I was married to for 32 years.
Ah.
Yeah.
What were you doing musically in 1977?
Well, I had joined a bunch of guys before I went in the service. I was with a band called Melody. That was a great band. I loved them. And then I went in the service and got out of boot camp and went up to the high desert and joined a group of guys up there playing bass and had a great time. And, you know, just a very uneventful time in my life from 77 to 81.
Yeah. Wow.
Except some of the greatest music we've ever known.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it was fun music, but it was, as far as my life goes, it was, you know,
Right.
yeah.
77, I was just getting turned on. I mean, I've been beating.
Oh, easy.
I've been beating pots and pans with wooden spoons for.
How old are you?
I'm 11 years old. In
Okay.
77, I'm 11 years old.
Same year.
And
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
You fucking young punks.
Yeah, about that.
Yes, I am the youngest in the room. I acknowledge that. I get that.
Spent most weekends at my grandparents' house because
I'm the old.
my grandparents would they'd let me stay up and watch Johnny Carson. And Johnny Carson is where I first saw real drummers like like Buddy Rich and Louis Belson and Ed Shaughnessy, who was with the house band, was just a magnificent drummer. One of the only drummers I've ever seen actually keep up with and go head to head with Buddy Rich. So that's kind of where that started, you know, sitting on the floor in the living room after my grandparents went to bed, beating on red, white, and blue vinyl pillows, you know, watching the Johnny Carson show. After that, I don't know, I think I got a set of drums when I was about 12 and we were off to the races after that. There was no real holding back. Took lessons for a couple of years, but like a lot of other drummies, as soon as I could put 4 on the floor, 1, 2, 3, 4, screw the lessons. We're off to the rock and roll races. You know, we don't need to know any of this. So as a result of that, you know, 40 years later or something, I still play mostly by feel. But yeah, that's what I was doing in 77. Oh, and listening to WLS radio as much as I could in my parents' 72 Mustang.
John Records Landecker.
Yeah, it was.
Used to go to sleep with the radio under my pillow. Maybe that's why I couldn't sleep at night.
A couple years after that, somebody introduced me to XRT and FM. I'm like, FM? What's that?
Yeah.
What's XRT?
Yeah, you're gonna have to add a coat hanger to your.
Right.
From here, yeah, you had to like wrap aluminum foil around your head and run around the neighborhood.
Wrap aluminum foil around their head, you know.
Somebody else's underwear.
So if people are looking for the Billy Osman band, where can they find them social media wise?
Yeah, social media. Like I've been blessed for the last quite a few years now. I don't book myself. I get booked. People call me and Facebook. This is a big one. My number's on Facebook. I'm approachable. Text me. I think my voicemail is full even, but give me a text. Let me know. Since the pandemic, I do parties. Most of the time, I have more fun. Kids. I love playing where their kids are at. Like Mike can attest to that, doing festivals and just seeing like, I love playing kids. And I also like parties. I make more money. I don't have to deal with clubs.
So Facebook is the place to go.
Facebook. My number's
People are
on
looking for
there,
you
and
guys.
I'm going to be doing some things to studio. The studio is my favorite place. I have to get a hold of Laura and for my own booking for us, but Mikey and I we're gonna do something too.
For sure. Come on out like the first week of March or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll have you sitting with the house band and we'll talk to Laura. And
Can I stand?
Sure, you can.
All right.
Yeah, you can stand.
I mean, I'll sit. Maybe you'll see.
You can stand. No, the only person allowed to sit is Herman Hines.
Herman Hines.
Everybody else
Herman
gotta
can
stand
do
up.
whatever. I got stories about him too, but this isn't about him. I got.
That's
I
right.
got so many.
All righty, guys.
right.
Thanks for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. It was
Thank you, Ray. Thanks
some
so much.
great music.
Yeah.
I got to come out and see you guys somewhere at either a jam or
Call me.
call you.
Yeah, I'm cheap, man.
We've heard that about you.
It costs a lot for
We've also
everybody. I
said
got to
that
pay
about you.
everybody else around me, but I'm cheap.
You're yeah. All righty, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
having
you.
you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Well, there you have it. The Billy Osman Band.
The Billy Osman Band, a group of 3 very talented musicians.
Very talented, very interesting musicians.
Yes. Go out and see those guys when you have a chance. Like I said, if you're tired of hearing Don't Stop Believing, No Offense Journey, or songs that you hear at every other show, go out and see Billy Osman because he's definitely not going to be playing any of the songs that you hear at other performances.
That's right. He's not playing the B sides. He's playing like the C and D sides.
Yep. The stuff that was never released on a 45
Right.
for, you older folks that
That's
understand what a 45 was.
That you would only have heard of if you listened to an album and you heard that song.
Right.
Never made the radio, never played anywhere, but they're playing them.
Right. Absolutely.
Sounding good too. Very, very good. Well, thanks for listening once again from the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66 in beautiful downtown Joliet, Illinois. We're going to be back with you guys next week, and we've got another fantastic interview. Our next episode is going to be with Stereo Phi.
Stereo Phi.
Stereo Phi is going to be here, and we'll have that show for you next week.
Looking forward to it.
Talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye.
The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast is edited by Paul Martin. Theme song courtesy of M&R Rush. The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast does not own the rights to any of the music heard on the show. The music is used to promote the guests that are featured.
Rock and roll, Chicago.